Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for all attending the annual 2018 State of the University Address. My name is Kurt Hackemer, and I'm the Interim Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at USD. As a reminder, the State of the University Address is being streamed live on the USD website and on Facebook. Questions will be answered following the conclusion of the address. For those joining us remotely, please feel free to submit your questions on Facebook, and we will attempt to answer as many as time allows. And now, please join me in welcoming our new president, Sheila Gestring, the 18th president of the University of South Dakota.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon. It's my pleasure to update you on the state of our university. Now more than ever is a great time to be a Coyote. The University of South Dakota is set apart by its students, its faculty and staff, facilities, the community, the state, the donors, alumni, and friends. As many of you know, USD is home to 200 undergraduate and 70 graduate degrees, including the state's only law school and medical school. Our students experience a major Division I research university while enjoying a close-knit campus community. USD is the state's flagship and only public liberal arts university in the state of South Dakota. We have the responsibility for developing our future leaders while promoting discovery and creativity through our research. It is our foundation in the liberal arts that distinguishes our professional schools from other programs. The most fundamental principle in education is learning how to learn. Whether students graduate with a liberal arts degree or with a professional degree, they are positioned to excel in our ever-evolving society. This approach positions our students to confront society's most pressing challenges. Despite all the progress that the liberal arts consistently deliver, some still question their relevance when compared to technical preparation. But as I mentioned, liberal arts is about learning how to learn, and doing so continuously throughout our lives. The full spectrum of education is necessary and valuable. Any investment in education is a great investment. The question becomes not what is your first job, but what are your aspirations for 5, 10, or even 30 years from now? The question is not how much money will I make, but rather how can I best use my gifts to make a positive contribution to my family and my community. By empowering students with a foundation robust enough to help them navigate the course of their life, we instill in them not just the skills necessary to meet their own challenges, but society's as well. I say all this because in many areas, the university's foundation in the liberal arts overlaps with the goals of the state of South Dakota. Some of the university's most immediate and pressing priorities include the School of Law and the University Center in South Dakota, or in Sioux Falls, excuse me. Both are key to the state of South Dakota. For more than 100 years, the USD School of Law has educated the state's legal advocates, producing future governors, Supreme Court justices, business leaders, and entrepreneurs. From Clay County to Buffalo County, our alumni serve the entire state by providing one of the most essential services in a civilized society, the rule of law. Last summer, a task force was assembled to study national challenges impacting law schools and how USD's School of Law might respond in the best way to continue serving South Dakota. The initial charge was to determine whether location impacts enrollment. But what we found was that USD's primary need was increasing scholarships. Thanks to the incredible generosity and support of our donors, alumni, and friends, we were able to offer 13 full tuition scholarships and increase the average LSAT score to its highest since 2010. In just 1 year, we were able to raise $1.2 million, which is a powerful demonstration of the strong support for USD's School of Law. USD is also grateful to the governor and the legislature for the new appropriations to add programming to support healthcare, banking, and trust law industries. We also appreciate the Board of Regents for its support for programming for bar exam preparation. Because of this, our pass rates from this summer's test takers increased from 52% to 82%, a remarkable difference thanks to the work of our talented faculty who are committed to the success of our students. USD's School of Law has an incredibly bright future, which positions us to attract an exceptionally qualified new dean. We are incredibly grateful and thankful to Dean Gouy for his 6 years of leadership, and we wish him all the very best as he returns to his passion of teaching. The search for the next law dean is underway. Dr. Mary Nettleman, the Vice President for Health Affairs and Dean of the Sanford School of Medicine, is chairing the committee with the assistance of the search firm Whitkeefer. We look forward to a new dean who will elevate the law school's position in our region even further. The law school is important to South Dakota because of its fundamental role in training the next generation of legal practitioners. University Center in Sioux Falls also has a fundamental responsibility in Sioux Falls and the region by playing a significant role in developing the state's workforce. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Carmen Simone, who officially starts her duties as the Executive Director of the University Center in Sioux Falls on January 2nd. Dr. Simone has a proven track record of stabilizing and increasing enrollment and retention rates. In past years, by simply being present in Sioux Falls, students attended the University Center. However, with as strong as our economy is in Sioux Falls, many are choosing to work. So it's becoming evident that a comprehensive enrollment strategy will be necessary for the future success of the center. 30% of Sioux Falls High School graduates are not getting post-secondary training. These students present an opportunity for the center and the community of Sioux Falls. For too long, some have viewed University Center as competition for students, but I believe the University Center in Sioux Falls helps us reach a population of students otherwise unavailable to us. Perhaps the students are place-bound or unsure of their future path, whether a first-generation college student or a working adult trying to finish a degree. The University Center in Sioux Falls can serve these students in a way that the main campus at USD cannot. As the lead institution at the University Center in Sioux Falls, USD plays a key role in providing opportunity to learn, grow, and develop. Now, this does not mean compromising the values and integrity of our liberal arts university. It means finding innovative ways in which we can partner with the University Center in Sioux Falls to provide even more academic opportunities to the citizens of our great state. Our exciting partnerships do not end with the University Center in Sioux Falls. For the first time, all 6 reginal presidents and the superintendent of the School for the Deaf and School for the Blind are collectively supporting common funding priorities. The most important issues are Dakota's Promise, which is a needs-based financial aid program. And the second is competitive salaries for our faculty and staff. First, I'll talk about Dakota's Promise. The top priority of the Board of Regents is a needs-based financial aid program that will help 6,000 South Dakotans every year. These are South Dakotans who have earned academically the privilege to attend a public university, but do not have the financial means to do so. The program is both simple and fair. If you work hard and you earn entry into a South Dakota public university, money should not be the sole barrier to an education. The university presidents are so committed that we've also agreed to raise private funds to match each dollar the state is able to contribute. The regional presidents agree it's a priority. The Board of Regents agree it's a priority. It's something 49 other states have already agreed is a priority. It's time South Dakota is no longer the state with the unflattering designation of having no needs-based financial aid program. As a public university, we remain committed to accessibility, and Dakota's promise has the ability to deliver a liberal arts education to students who otherwise would not have that opportunity. Despite the lack of a needs-based financial aid program, USD data indicates we are doing an excellent job of enrolling future leaders. The first-time full-time undergraduate enrollment increased 6.4% from 1,341 in fall 2017 to 1,427 in fall 2018, the largest entering class in USD history. Additionally, among all first-time undergraduates, enrollment by domestic students of color increased 13.7%. A key to our success has been offering resident tuition rates to incoming students from Iowa and Nebraska. This year, enrollment by students from Iowa increased 8.4%, while enrollment from students from Nebraska increased 25%. And this is important to the state and its workforce goals, because there is data that indicates 30% of non-resident students who attend a South Dakota public university stay in the state, making USD one of the state's most effective workforce recruiters. Not only did our out-of-state enrollment increase, but our enrollment from South Dakota increased 7.2% as well. And just as important to recruiting is retention. Once we recruit students, it is incumbent upon us to retain them and get them through to graduation. While we had a downturn with our 2016 cohort, we've rebounded nicely with the 2017 cohort. Retention is up to 77.3%, up from 72.4% last year. Part of this success can be attributed to Coyote Connections, a student retention tool that helps faculty and advisors identify students that may be struggling with the transition to university life. This has played an important role in that effort by allowing our faculty and advisors to interact with students in new ways. This year, we are providing faculty and chairs with new tools that will allow them to make even better use of Coyote Connections, and we anticipate continued improvement with our retention. Another program making a return is a mentorship program that connects a first-time USD student with a member of the student services staff to provide a friendly resource to help them adjust to college life. Mentoring one of our bright students can be an incredibly rewarding experience. At least that was the case for me when I was paired with a student from Kansas City. I requested being paired with a business student, which might seem obvious to those that know my background. And in a conversation over one lunch, she expressed being very uneasy with the major that she had chosen. She talked passionately about a very different way in which she wanted to contribute to society. By the end of that lunch, it was clear she was far more interested in occupational therapy. So I connected her with the pre-OT club and found an advisor to help her adjust her courses. This past spring, she sent me a note congratulating me on my appointment and let me know that she had completed her doctorate degree. The congratulations, of course, go to her. But her note is one I keep in my top desk drawer. This is what USD is all about, helping every student find their passion. There are countless examples where faculty and staff have had a positive impact on our students. This is what makes USD a very special community. It is my experience that everyone here cares very deeply about our students and their success, And that's why it is so important to recognize the vital role that all of you play. I understand that the quality of education often depends on the quality of the instruction and the services we provide. It is critical we offer competitive salaries to retain our faculty and staff, as well as attract new top-tier talent when vacancies arise. That's why South Dakota Board of Regents is requesting over $3 million from the legislature dedicated to increasing salaries at public universities. In addition to that request, USD is pursuing some supplemental benefits to offer to our benefit-eligible employees. Some initial steps include adding 2 benefits that don't cost the university, but are valuable to not only faculty and staff, but to students as well. The first is available thanks to the academic deans and their partnership. The deans have agreed to support benefit-eligible employees by underwriting the cost of the equivalent of half of an individual membership to the Wellness Center, and that will be effective January 2019. We hope you will all utilize this new benefit. The second benefit is what we call day of tickets. If there's a theater performance or an athletic competition and there are tickets available on the morning of the event, benefit-eligible faculty and staff will have the ability to reserve up to 2 tickets without cost on a first-come, first-served basis. I encourage all of you to take advantage of this new benefit, which will become effective October 15th, 2018, and show your support of our students as they showcase their talents. These are only initial steps. I've also asked Human Resources to find new ways to support employee professional development. As I expressed earlier, lifelong learning is part of our foundation as a liberal arts university. We need to support and practice lifelong learning as an employer. And that brings me to the last item, our next chapter. As part of my transition into the role, there it is, role of president, I've been traveling across the state and across campus to listen to our various constituent groups. The listening tour will continue throughout the first year as I look to gather a variety of perspectives. As we look beyond next year and into the next decade at USD, we have tremendous reason for optimism. I will be seeking your input in creating our next strategic plan that builds upon our commitment to offer a well-rounded liberal arts education. USD is in a great place, and now we have the opportunity to talk about where it is we want to go from here, who we aspire to be, and how we intend to get there. We are incredibly grateful to have the wonderful facilities management team that is dedicated to maintaining our historic and beautiful campus. We have made tremendous strides in facilities improvements over the past decade, but there is more to do. We will have the opportunity to refresh our facilities master plan alongside our strategic plan. We'll be wrapping up our fundraising campaign in December, having raised over $270 million to improve facilities, fund scholarships, increase research and travel opportunities for student and faculty, and develop exciting new academic programs. Thanks to the diligence of our finance staff, we continue to maintain a strong financial position and are poised to weather storms. But we also know additional support is needed to take USD to that next level. So the timing is perfect for connecting our strategic plan and our next capital campaign. This is such an incredible time to be a Coyote. I am honored to be part of the team that builds upon our past successes to achieve even greater prominence and realize even more of our potential in the future. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you all know how much I value your individual contributions to our continued success. Thank you for all that you do. We are all in this together, and it takes each one of us to succeed collectively. So with that, I welcome any questions that you may have. Thank you. I should mention, if you have a question, there are some mics set up front here, so feel free to come down and. For those online, the question was, how well are my children adapting to my new title? Okay. I'll just say okay. They're adapting okay. There are times I have to keep Wyatt in check, as you might imagine, Mimi. Question number 2 for those online was whether or not I have Mimi's desk ready. So for reference, when the announcement was made, Mimi offered to be my co-president. Thank you, Mimi.
Not only do we have you as a new president, we have a new executive director of the Board of Regents. Can you tell us a little bit about him and how he feels about us?
Sure. I can tell you what I know, and I really have only had a couple of opportunities to sit down and visit with Dr. Behrens. Dr. Paul Behrens comes from Arkansas and was a president most recently there. That institution that he came from was kind of an interesting one, the way he described it to me, in that it had historically been very much a 2-year school, and he was a part of the transition to bring it more so to a 4-year institution. He has been given a charge, I don't know, it's available out online, with about 13 areas for him to focus on in the coming year. I think he feels very good about where the universities are in South Dakota. I think one of the charges he was given was about efficiencies, and I think part of that is communicating how efficient we really are. Always room for improvement, no question, but I think it's kind of startling when people begin to discover the data about how efficient our universities really are. For example, the University of South Dakota spends 47% less per degree issued than the average of our peers. So that's really efficient number. There are similar numbers like that with the other universities as well. But the ultimate outcome is that degree. We can be great at delivering credit hours, and if we never deliver a degree, that makes us completely ineffective. So I think talking about the efficiency, but also what's most effective as well, will be part of his charge and what he'll be working through.
We have one question from our live stream. Devin Alexander asks, what is your vision for growing research at USD?
Sure. So research at USD has been doing very well lately. In 2014, about every university took a downturn, but USD has been recovering nicely. Last year, we increased research 5.7%. And Mary will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're about $2 to $3 million ahead of that at the same time last year versus this year. So research is doing very well, and we'll continue to work to increase that. But also CBRE, the Center for Brain and Behavioral Research, has been doing significant things, and the university is supporting that center as they work interdisciplinary across campus. We have 5 total centers that I think are doing very, very well. Dr. Stanley May, just recognized for his work in the Security Inc. Center. I'm not naming the center correctly, but I did read the article. So I think it's really important for USD as a research state flagship university that we are constantly promoting and protecting maybe that discovery and creativity through our research. We're one of the few areas, universities are one of the few areas where protection of discovery exists. And so I think it's our mission, and it's absolutely critical that we continue to promote that sort of discovery and creativity. Is Ted Munster here? He usually asks me that question about the community and the university and how the interplay works. So I was hoping he might throw me that softball, but I'm just going to put it out there because I see Nate right there in the middle. I have had the privilege of working with Nate for several years now. And last week, I just want to brag a little bit about Vermilion and the university last week. It was such a great week. We started the week by celebrating pass rates in the law school and the class size being up, and then discovering that our first-time full-time undergraduate numbers were the best in history. And then we moved on to a groundbreaking for the Preservation Center, which is a partnership between Vermilion, the National Music Museum, and the University of South Dakota. And just as soon as we finished that groundbreaking, we were doing a ribbon cutting for the McVicker Plaza, which again is a partnership between the Vermilion community and the University of South Dakota, home of Charlie's. So it was a pretty amazing week, and I think it's indicative of how well we're all working together now as all of the players in the Vermilion community, the university, everybody's at the table. As Nate said, thank you for showing up. It's those that show up that make things happen and get to participate in the decisions. And I think it's no coincidence that USD's got such great news. Vermilion is such an incredibly vibrant community right now with all that's going on in town. And as I told Mayor Jack, that I declare town gown dated language, and from now on, we will be forever partners. So.
Alan Aldrich University Libraries.
Hi, Alan.
I really appreciate the comments about the importance of the liberal arts, and I hope you can do everything possible to protect the liberal arts from a lot of the work-ready forces that don't necessarily get the importance of critical thinking. But my question is different. I know that the regents, Regent Schieffer and I had a discussion at my last board meeting about getting, recruiting, and retaining graduate students, because that's proving to be problematic. And that's very problematic in areas of teaching and also especially in areas of research. What is it USD is doing to try to remedy that, and how is that getting communicated to the Board of Regents so that they become aware of this systemic problem?
Sure, that's a great question. Thank you, Ellen. Dr. Berry and I have been talking a little bit about how we might be able to make some of the graduate assistantships a little bit more competitive, perhaps through stipends, perhaps through a different way of tuition waivers, maybe even some additional external support being written into some grants. And then I think, too, it might be time for an enrollment strategy around our graduate programs. We tend to hear, we've segmented all of our different strategies around enrollment, and maybe it's time for us to bring everybody together and start to have one enrollment strategy that addresses graduate enrollment, university center enrollment, online enrollment, on-campus enrollment, etc. Instead of having 4 to 5 different strategies going on in different pockets of the university, bring everybody together so that we're all aligned. So not just addressing graduate enrollment, but overall enrollment in our strategies there. Hi, Dan.
When you met with the School of Business, I asked you a question about, changing strategic priorities and our steps forward to continuous improve. and that those changes would require changes in culture. And you gave a story that I really appreciated. I'd like you to share that with the faculty and the students and the staff.
I'd be happy to. So yeah, Dan asked me about strategy and what it takes to change strategy and the culture it takes to make changes happen. And so I told the business school a story I had heard when I was attending a seminar this past summer. It was a seminar of new presidents, and the president of Air University was describing for me a situation where an employee who was not at the top of the hierarchy, not at the top of the organization chart, had been given an award and recognized for the great works that he did. And this employee, when accepting the award, said, "We support, or we help the people that help the people that help the people to help the people." And I remember at the time thinking, what if that was USD's culture? How amazing would that be? That we're all in this together, that we're all trying to facilitate that help to that student at the very end. So that was the story.
We have one more question from our live stream from Nicholas Metler. What's your plan on bringing in the $30 million for the Fine Arts building renovation? We have the state's best music program with the worst building.
Okay, I agree with Nicholas Metler that we have the state's best fine arts college. I will say that the $30 million was a new number for me in the Volant, I must admit. I'm guessing it was an estimate. We certainly have some renovations that we need to do with our fine arts building. I've not been quiet about that since I started. That is a building we need to address. We have lots of needs on campus, and that's part and parcel to what I had referenced towards the end, is that it's time to refresh our facilities master plan. We have accomplished a lot over the last decade, but there is more to do. And so with fine arts being part of that more to do category, we do need to begin to develop a plan. And part of that plan will be, how do we best utilize the state's maintenance and repair dollars? Some of it's going to involve fundraising and going out and seeking private dollars to help us with that as well. Thank you, that's a great question. I think we just need to continuously live inclusive excellence every day. And part of that is accessibility, believe it or not. An accessible campus is an inclusive campus. So the more we can continuously live that each and every day, I think the better we will be. It isn't something that you you do, it's something that you live. So that would be my approach to how. Y'all are trying to get out of here early, aren't you? Well, if there aren't any more questions, thank you so much for being here.